It's well known that Vitamix creates very robust equipment, but everything will have a threshold and can be pushed beyond that. What we want to talk about today is how to avoid overheating your machine and the downtime that would follow. With me today is our Vita-Prep 3, our back-of-house flagship, and our quiet one for the front-of-house customers. They use the exact same motor for both of these, which is in front of me. So we've got the black drive socket on the top, and the container with the blade assembly would fit right inside that. One concept that we really want to drive home to help you understand today is speed and cooling. So the slower you run the blender in speed, the slower the fan exhausts heat. So the fan is this black component on the bottom, and every time the blade assembly makes a rotation, the fan makes a rotation. So keep that in mind, that if you're running at low speed and you have a very viscous, dense blend, and you're doing a higher volume, that's going to require more stress or provide more stress to the motor, and it's going to heat up more. If your recipe can't be run at higher speed, you may want to look at doing a lower volume than what you had been doing, or run a cool down cycle in between those runs. Now, when I talk about a cool down cycle, basically what I'm referring to is you'll run the blender as is. Keep an eye on if it's a heavier, dense load, or if it's given you problems with shutdown in the past, how hot that air is coming out the outside. The motor won't shut down until it gets to over 150 degrees Celsius, if it is a thermal shutdown. So in between runs, if you must run at low speed, go ahead and take the container off, run that speed all the way up to 10 and flip it to high, and run for 45 seconds to a minute. If you're on the quiet one, you could use program 6 that runs for just shy of 30 seconds but uses a lot of high speed, and that's going to exhaust that as well. Again, the concept is get the most out of the equipment. If these machines overheat, it's going to take probably about 40 minutes or so before the motor itself will cool down and the thermal cutout will reactivate. So that's actually located right here on the side of the motor stack. And it's really there to protect your investment. And we want to not only make sure you don't have downtime, but your equipment lasts as long as possible. On that note, we've had some customers that'll point out that they found ways to reduce downtime if they should overheat the machine by taking the motor base and putting it into a walk-in freezer or refrigerator, or in even extreme cases, vacuum packing the motor base and dropping it into an ice bath. This will reduce the downtime because it's going to allow for a lot of cool air around the motor base, but it also is going to introduce condensation to the electrical components on the inside of the machine, and that's going to reduce your long-term life of the machine itself. So the key is catch it before you go over that thermal protection trip, and that's the main concepts that we want to point out today. Also, don't be afraid to use the tamper as well as high speed when you're using machines that have that. That's going to allow to push those ingredients in to finish your recipe to that refined state quicker, but also give the ability to really use those higher speeds at higher effective processing.